Good, Melissa.
Welcome.
Hello.
What's your middle name?
Oh, Louise.
What was that? What was that?
It's got like
Melissa Louise.
my brother used to say Melissa Wheeze,
That's funny.
and so I really hated it growing up.
Yeah.
Wheeze.
Melissa Wheeze.
Richie.
Richie.
Richie
Nice.
Rich.
Remember that book? Richie
Movie.
Rich?
Movie.
No, I used to read the comic books.
Yeah.
Was there comic books?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm twice as old as you, son.
Yep.
So,
Showing. It's showing.
you know, we heard a little bit of your story on the Sunday.
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
So cool.
Yeah, I'd like to just explore the whole growing up in church a bit more.
Mm.
You know, I can relate to that.
Mm.
Yeah, being in church but not knowing Jesus
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah. It's weird.
Hey,
It's so
Weird.
weird. Yeah. The older I get, the more weird it is that like you read through the stories of the Old Testament, for instance, and like you just accepted it when you were young. You're like, yeah, the whale, the ark. But then now I read it, I'm like, what the heck? Just the miracles are so incredible, but they were the norm.
Mm.
So that's pretty weird.
Mm. So you went to a family church growing up.
Yeah, it was called the family church as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
there you go.
Yeah.
Where?
So my grandparents, so my granddad was the pastor, and we used to meet. We met at Bond Uni for a little bit in the early days. We met somewhere before that, but I was too little, I don't remember. So we used to meet at Bond Uni, and then we moved to the showroom at Robina Holden. So they would drive the cars out every Sunday, and we'd meet in the...
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I worked there.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah.
Not in the 90s.
No, it was like early 2000s.
Yeah.
He would have been driving the cars out.
I was 10. Oh, mate.
So one of the elders...
Lego building.
One of the elders in the church, he was the owner. So he
Oh.
let us use that space.
I know his son. He still worked there when I worked there.
Yeah.
He's deaf.
Yeah.
Deaf.
Ondi.
Death.
Yeah.
Deaf.
Yeah.
Go right, start again. Cancel and start again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's his name?
Ondi.
Yeah.
Andreas.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was still there after they sold because they sold it to...
Bibra. Von Bibra.
Von Bibra.
Yep.
Wow.
The years behind us
Yeah.
have put us years
Years ahead.
Come on. I'll
So
reach
my
out.
granddad actually worked for Robina Holden as well. So he
Wow.
was like the senior pastor, and also he worked in a part of their advertising team. He's an ad man. by
So
trade.
they cleared the cars out and you guys had church
Church in there. So we would set it up. So like my family and my extended family, we would come put all the chairs out, put all the sound desks together. My dad was the worship, like the music leader, song leader. We were everything. Like every team was my family.
If you don't mind me asking, like, okay, how many people are we talking for setup? Like
Oh,
chairs and music and sound and
Well, I mean,
Getting a read for how he can strip the team back at the moment.
what? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
look, so my parents would probably watch and say, like, you didn't do anything. You just sat down and watched TV or played with toys. But so I don't really remember the ins and outs.
Right.
But the church fluctuated. I think at the biggest we probably had about 70 people, maybe more.
Oh, wow.
So that's in the Holden forecourt in the.
Yeah, in the main foyer.
Did you have people walking around looking at cars
Yeah,
and stuff?
well, yeah. People would walk past on a Sunday and like look through the window. Yeah.
Because it was closed, eh?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
closed
it's
for the
closed on a
day.
Sunday, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
the car yard still has
So the
cars
car
in it.
yard, yeah, it was still like people could still walk through.
yeah.
Mm.
Wow. How,
Funny, hey.
and then what time would that finish? Like lunchtime?
Lunchtime, yeah. Finish at lunchtime, pack down, drive all the cars back in, and then go home. Yeah.
You wouldn't be driving, but
No, not me.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Hey Mel,
Everyone grab a car.
bring in the XR8, would you? Oh, that's a Ford. Sorry.
Mm.
Bring in the SS.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Bring in the Commodore.
The big cars and the little cars and the blue cars.
Wait, what happened to them?
To the what? To the cars?
To the church.
Oh, so The details, the specific details, are a little
Oh,
foggy to me because I
that's
was
okay.
young and I think my family protected us from a lot. But basically, my granddad he was the pastor, and my uncle Chris was also a pastor. So my granddad handed the church to my uncle and was called down to pastor a church in country Victoria.
Wow.
So him and my grandma moved down south, and then we stayed for a little bit in Rabina Holden, and then we moved to the Carrara Community Centre.
Oh, yeah.
So we had like a bit of a rebrand, like we changed the name of the church and a little bit of the style, which was, I loved it, but it was probably a bit before its time because it was cafe style church. So we sat around cafe tables and we had like a break in the middle of the service.
Nice.
They would bring in the morning tea or afternoon tea. We were doing afternoon services at the time. And it was really interactive. And my uncle would ask questions to the congregation and we could chat back during this. Yeah, it was really, really different.
That's good.
Super ahead of its time. And like it just kind of slowly lost people, which was sad. But yeah.
Mm.
So the family church changed to Create. We called it Create. And then it shut down in like 2006.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then where did you find yourself then?
Well, we weren't going to church for a little bit. We had about between 6 months to 12 months off. But my parents were really aware that as youth, because I would have been 13, 14,
Right.
we needed to be somewhere planted as a family. Because, I was 14, my sister was 13, Josh was like 11 or 12. So, they really wanted us to be somewhere. So then we ended up going to, another church in Varsity.
Oh, cool. Excellent. And you were there for quite a while.
Yeah, probably. Maybe 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer, actually. Yeah.
So then when you're like 18, 19, you're like branched out? Like
So when we went to this church in Varsity, it was an awesome church. Just it had a really small youth group, really small, not any young adults really. So I struggled to make connections. So then I ended up going to like another church when I was about 18, branching off for a little bit, but it was really like not very deep. I was also quite a bit younger than all the friends that I made there because I kind of came to it. I went to the young adults before I was a young adult. So everyone was serving. There was a big emphasis on being on a team, and I didn't have the capacity to do what they could do. So then if you weren't serving, you didn't have anyone to sit with on a Sunday. So it was just like so lonely. So then I kind of like went there for a bit, didn't really connect in, went back to the church in Varsity with my family. So just a lot of moving around, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
Been to like a few different churches in my time.
And the whole, church people as community is one thing, but then a relationship with God's another thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And often they go hand in hand, but often we try and put it all on one hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did that sort of shift for you?
Like
you need a
relationship for myself?
Yeah, you had to etch out your own walk with the Lord.
Yeah. It's hard to say exactly because I think there's been moments along the way. Probably like last year, did I take it for myself? I knew that I was. I know that's like a bit old.
Not really.
Like, I remember like one of my earliest memories is asking Jesus into my heart. My mum like led me through the prayer when I was little.
Yeah.
So I've always grown up with an awareness of him. I would picture him coming in. And every time I sinned, I would picture my heart being black, and I would see Jesus coming with like, this is really heavy. I would just picture this black heart that was really dirty, and I would picture Jesus in like a painter's outfit, like a
PEP.
yeah, and he would come and he would scrub it. I'd like ask for forgiveness, and I'd see him washing it. This is probably really bad doctrine. I don't know. And so then he would scrub it, and then it would be like white for a little bit. And then if I did something naughty again, I'd be like, oh, my heart's black.
Wow.
Was he scrubbing it or was he just painting it, Melissa?
I don't know. We probably need to delve into that one a bit more.
So he was outside your heart, washing the outside.
Oh. There lies
Anyway.
the issue. Have we let him in yet?
So yeah, there was like I knew him. I guess I knew of him.
Yeah.
But there were always these times in my walk, even as a teenager, where I'd go to do something and I'd think, oh nah, mum and dad would be really disappointed if I do that. I never thought, oh, that'll be letting down the Lord, or that I've got a conviction not to do that. My convictions weren't tied to anything. So yeah, I would say it hasn't been until the most recent years that I've really, for myself, based on my own convictions and knowing the Lord, having an encounter with him, have I,
Wow, that's
feel
amazing.
like I know him.
And so you approach Christian community quite differently because of that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right. What was it before that?
Oh, just trying not to let people see the stuff. I don't know. I think because especially the early years when people were leaving the church, the family church, I just had this sense like we couldn't do anything right. Like if we do the wrong thing, people are going to leave. So there was this massive belief that you had to be perfect to keep people around. So it was all about what I could do, like, how I looked on the outside. Was I holding it all together? Is that what is going to keep people in my life, basically?
So that creates the whole performance management, behavior management, masking.
And just fearing that people could leave at any point and having to control that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
It is, eh?
Yeah. Even just the thought of being a part of it's not as weird as what I initially thought, being a part of the church growing up and not believing in God, because it's just a tribe, right? If you weren't at that, you were going to just be at another tribe that wasn't so much of a tribe, more scattered, probably smaller. So it's very interesting, eh? I'm sort of just processing this as
because it's different to a tribe too, because it's it's body.
But if you're not in that, like if you're not in that way of actual thinking, then it's just a tribe run by I think. But I mean, that's either way, and I don't think that's wasted.
No.
Because
kept me out of heaps of trouble.
Yeah. And even the doctrine, the lessons are all pieced together at some point, and they all make sense. Hopefully, when you're like, oh, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Did you feel it with your family? Did you feel it? Like, was there a sense of, try harder, like from your own ownership point of view?
Within my family or our family within the church? Just
with you.
Yeah, I was always a high achieving child. Like my parents are amazing.
I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's so good.
Like my parents are amazing. They encouraged me so much. Like they've always told me, oh, good job, honey.
Número un.
Siempre. No, I like basically if there was anything that I didn't do well in, I would stop doing it and I would just like pretend it didn't happen. I'd go and find something else that I was really good at. But I just So I was partially this good student and did well in school and like I did all the extracurricular stuff. Trying to get validation and I got it, like, and so then you get a bit addicted to that. You need more and more and more, like, and then if you do something wrong, it's like, oh no, like I need that built back up again. But yeah, like I didn't overstep. Like I didn't touch drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I didn't hang around with boys. Like I only had Christian girlfriends right through high school, and like that thought of, oh, my parents will be disappointed if I do this, stopped me from doing a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
In my high school years. Yeah.
So, it wasn't until recently then that you fully I'm starting, I get this, I'm starting to get it. So then what was high school like? What school did you go to?
Hillcrest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was a good school. It was really good. I went from prep to year 12. So
wow. Yeah. Foundation member.
Yeah. I got the plaque at the end.
So so that's a full Christian school, eh?
Yeah. Well, yeah. was
Oh,
when I was there.
Is that's Hillcrest is Claire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I don't remember. I don't think she was there when I was there. Yeah, I graduated in 2010.
Yeah. She didn't get up there
So
till
old.
2013, 2012.
Yeah.
So you're okay. You're
Yeah.
good.
It's so funny when I meet other kids and they're like, and I hear that they go to Hillcrest, like, oh, what year did you graduate? I'm like 2010. Like, oh, it's like, yeah, it hadn't even started yet.
Yeah. I was born.
They're like, what? yeah. Oh.
What was it like? What was school like then? Like with your
school's
friends
awesome.
and being
Oh,
good-
actually,
School's awesome.
there's like
Hang on a minute.
school is classified into like 3 parts for me. There's like the early years, the mid years, and the late years. Because I actually got put up a grade. So I had
you're
like
a proper nerd.
no.
That's awesome.
My parents held me back. Like I went to prep the first day of prep. I think this is how the story goes. My mum went, oh, she's too little. And she took me out. So she was like, I want 1 more year. So I was a year older than all of my peers. So then they were like, oh, wow, she's so gifted. They were like, oh, she's so gifted.
Melissa's
wasn't.
8 in prep.
Melissa, did you catch the bus? No, I drove. You're in year 7. Kept me back a couple of years.
So like I did well in school, and so they I also had like a lot of, I want to say around year 5 I had a lot of friendship troubles. And so I had this opportunity. It was really bad actually. Like every day I was coming home in tears. My mum was probably in tears every day watching me. And I don't really remember what it was, but it was probably me holding on to girls too much and wanting to like keep them as my best friend, and being left out. Just like all kids go through that, you know. So their solution at the time was, okay, she's above where she should be. She's a little bit older. We'll put her into this gifted class. Went into the gifted class. Which sounds so bad, but the kids didn't really have social skills in that class. So it was almost worse.
Right.
So I had no friends. It was like highlighted that I'm not really gifted. I'm just probably not being challenged at the level that I should be.
Right.
So then I did 1 term in this gifted class, and then they said, okay, we're going to put her up a year level. So they just took me from this special class, popped me into year 7, which is like, you know, like your last year of primary school. And so I just started clean with this whole new grade, new school friends.
Wow.
That was really hard. Like I came in and everyone was like, who's this little year 6er? It's coming to year 7. So then, but amazingly, one of my closest friends to this day was the girl that they put me next to.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, you need to be Melissa's buddy. And we're still like, we catch up.
Cool.
Yeah, all the
that is
time.
cool.
She's one of my most special, closest friends.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So then after that, then we went into high school the next year. My high school years were quite good because I kind of found my feet, got good friends. Yeah, found where my strengths were and stuck to those. Yeah.
And then graduated, went to uni.
Straight into uni.
Straight away.
Wow.
Such a good idea.
Yeah. If you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, it is. But I watched so many people drop out. Yeah. And I think I'm just really lucky that I had a passion for something, and God has been able to piece together this little journey that I've been on with my career, and now I'm working in. I would never have thought I would be here now where I am, what I'm working in. Yeah.
But that was been your passion for a long time.
Well, I always wanted to do something therapeutic. I wanted to help people, but I figured that counselling, I was probably too sensitive to be a counsellor because I just take it all on. I'm not very good with boundaries and what's my issue, what's someone else's issue. So
You're right. We are stuffed. We're not getting out
like
of
I
this.
was also a little bit pessimistic, so I didn't think I could bring hope to the person that was like hurting. So I actually had a massive passion for language and culture, and to be fair, probably just wanted to escape and see the world. And so I went and studied languages and linguistics, thinking that it would take me on this adventure, fulfill me. But yeah, it didn't. It was yeah.
I think it's this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a pretty big shock going overseas, leaving my cushy, stable Christian life. and then being like smacked in the face with the reality of just what the outside world's like.
Where did you go?
I went to Spain for 6 months. Yeah, 6 months.
Was that part of uni?
Yeah, so I studied languages and linguistics, so like the study of language, because I wanted to do something with communication. So my options were speech therapy down the track, or teaching English as a second language, or communicate. Yeah, I just knew I wanted to talk because I was good at talking. But yeah, I went and studied Spanish as my major, and then ended up going to Spain, to Madrid, to uni for 6 months, which was, yeah.
How much Spanish can you speak?
I mean, not a lot now. I used to be, basic level, could walk around and interact with people, build connections. But yeah, when I was in Spain, I didn't do a lot of uni. I went for uni purposes, but it was quite stressful.
Stressful?
So it was like plucking me out of third year.
Out of year 5 and putting me in year 7.
Oh my gosh, it felt like that. It was like taking you out of a third year uni course here and just chucking you in another language. Like, you're still doing the third year level.
Oh,
you're doing your final year of uni.
You understand nothing.
But you have, I like the colour blue as your base, And like, yes, I would like more cheese with that. Like, that's my level of Spanish. So I was studying some, yeah.
Why do they do that? That makes no sense.
Well, because immersion is the best way to learn.
You've
got to shut off everything of your mother tongue.
Yeah.
Squash it.
You're stressed.
Okay, so that
high stress, right?
Yeah.
So that does benefit the.
Oh, it's amazing for language learning. Yeah.
Oh, no, I totally get it. For learning another language, 100%. But for your
for my degree. So my major was Spanish language. So I was basically getting a whole bunch of credit points for those subjects, but just in my language that I was studying.
So where did you live in Spain?
I live with a host family. This little family that they were perfect. They're just, yeah.
How was the culture shock of that?
Oh, well, I think they got homestay student and au pair mixed up, because I paid them to live there, but then they would like throw the kids in the room and be like, look after them. And I was like, just paid like
do my washing.
Or nanny.
Cook us dinner.
Yeah, like an au pair, like a nanny. I think there was a bit of a barrier there, because they were like, oh yeah, just if you could just teach them English, and they would always put them in my room. I'm like, I'm just a student.
Job descriptor.
Yeah, they were just hustlers, man. They were just like, we'll get this sucker.
They were really wealthy. They were both lawyers, and I had a great setup, but just I stopped coming home. The problem was I stopped coming home because the kids were always getting put in my room. So I was out all the time.
Avoiding your nanny job? Yep.
I was avoiding coming home, and in uni, they did this class called phonetics, which is where, so in the English, in Australian English, every sound is represented by a code.
Apple.
Yeah, but A is also, it's also O in was and or in water. Like, there's all these different sounds.
And just pause on that.
No, it's
I had
water.
serious issues as a kid learning, because Australian English does not line up with English.
Mate,
and we're learning English.
It's ridiculous.
It
I have to
sucks.
teach it now, and I'm like, I'm sorry, kid, I don't get this either.
It
but
doesn't
just
make
learn
sense.
It doesn't.
And then they tell you, no, it does make sense. Sorry.
Is that beer, or bear?
No, even just no.
Beer, bear, and bear.
It's not even that. It's how we say words. The.
I don't know.
Like that should be THA. Anyway, carry. So you were avoiding your nanny job?
No, so I was doing this subject called phonetics, and they would get you up in front of the class to transcribe what you, and I was good at this in English language at home. Like this is my wheelhouse. But then in Spanish, like, they would get me up to transcribe, and they would be all the students would be laughing at me. It's like trauma going back there. They'd be laughing at me because I'm only getting every third word.
Wow.
So it just is not making any sense. They're laughing at me, so I just stopped going to classes.
And this is uni as well. They didn't chuck you in like a high school.
No, I was in third year uni.
100 students.
Like, they're about, the classrooms were huge, and they're 6 months away from graduating, like graduate level. And I'm there like, and just crying. I just leave class crying, and I just stopped going.
So you stopped going and you didn't go home. Where did you go?
That's a good question. Just found some friends, and Yeah, just it wasn't the best time of my life, not the best choices. Yeah, I didn't do anything too hectic.
Yeah.
I just hung out with a couple of exchange students, went traveling.
Wow.
Or like other Aussies or?
No, just from everywhere. Lots of Mexicans. I had a lot of Mexicans in my life.
Hey, amigo.
Yeah, lots of amigos. And just like Swiss and lots of Americans.
Did you get a Mexican or a Spanish boyfriend?
I had a Mexican. There was a Mexican friend, I would say. I don't know if we got to the boyfriend girlfriend status, but
Sorry, I should have funny. This is serious. That's awesome.
No.
So 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
So you came back.
I came back and I was like so ashamed.
Oh man.
What was your uni support like when you came back?
Oh, like coming back into uni.
Yeah.
Well, I'd failed a couple of subjects in Spain because I didn't go to classes. I rocked up to the exam. I remember looking at the exam and going, yep. Just writing like, I like blue. My name is Melissa. I'm an exchange student. Please have grace.
Get off.
I remember like learning some specific things that I thought, oh yeah, they might be impressed by that. I just learn it.
I drink water. It's in Spanish.
Oh,
No,
actually, to be
water.
fair, I took 4 subjects. I failed 2. So I passed 2.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It is. So is that so is that technically a fail, or that's like, no, you did okay?
Oh, so
did okay.
two classes I got credit points for. 2 I had to come back and redo. So it extended my uni a little bit. So I ended up doing 4 years instead of 3 because I had to do extra subjects. Yeah.
Well, what a good thing though. Spain.
Yeah.
Did you get to see a bit of Spain?
Saw so much.
Yeah,
While
Barcelona?
traveling. Yeah.
Barcelona.
What was the
See?
coolest thing you did while you were over there?
My grandparents flew over at the end and we travelled together for 6 weeks.
Oh wow.
Oh.
5 weeks, 6 weeks, and it was amazing. So this is my pastor grandparents came and met me, and it was beautiful.
Went to Italy and stuff.
Amazing. Italy. We went all over Europe, and then we spent a week driving around the UK together. My granddad's driving. We stayed in bed and breakfast. It was beautiful. Like
Just the three of you?
just the 3 of us.
Oh,
so
wow.
special because I'm the eldest grandchild, so I'm the favourite. Yeah.
Número.
Yeah. Not always.
I'm the youngest and I'm the favourite.
Yeah,
Yo.
it goes either way, doesn't it? But I'm definitely the
Número
favourite.
5.
See.
Um,
Wow. So
Sounds
then,
good.
then you would have seen a few places.
Yeah,
What-
I did. Yeah,
What was the worst thing that happened over there?
with my grandparents or with
No. Like, is
in
your
Spain?
experience? Yeah.
Oh, I it was my first experience out of the church world. So I learned that I was a product of my environment over there because I basically was plucked out, and within 2 weeks of being in Spain, like I think about it, I just totally turned my face away from the Lord and just pretended he wasn't there. And so, that was sad.
He can't understand Spanish either, so nothing to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Senor.
Oh, it was bad.
Lord there.
Yeah.
No, that's a
That's
really
a very good point.
that's a really interesting. Hey, so you pretty much experienced the real world.
Yeah. Well, making decisions on my own for the first time. Like, do I want to get up and go somewhere today? I've got no one to ask permission to. Do I want to skip this class today? I've got no one I'm accountable to. Like, it got real so quickly, and I realized I was just flailing around.
How old were you?
I was 19. I know. And I was, you got to understand, like, I was a good kid. Like, I was trustworthy. Like, I'd always made good decisions because people around me were making good decisions, and I was always quite afraid of the world. So this was my first time being in it. Man, God, he honestly would have protected me from so much. There's moments I look back on and I'm thinking,
It could have gone
it
bad.
could have gone so much worse than it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very, very still sheltered. Yeah.
And I imagine that you made some decisions over
Yeah.
there that would have been really hard
Yeah.
to deal with on your own.
Oh my gosh. I remember this one night just walking back. Actually, yeah. When I was coming home on the plane, I remember just crying, thinking, I can never tell anyone what this experience. This is quite sad. Hey, I had convinced myself I have to keep all of this a secret because I know I'm coming back into the world where I'm not the golden child, but there was like Oh my gosh.
It's hard. I just know how it feels. That's all. I just
Like there was such there was always high expectations for me because I was a good student, good kid. Like I've grown up in this family that's always found themselves in leadership, you know. So I found myself there as well. So there was just a lot on my shoulders, and I'm coming back and I'm thinking no one can know. I'm just going to have to live with this. This is my cross to bear. And I remember thinking, I also can't come to the Lord and ask for forgiveness because you can't do that. You can't sin and then come straight back to him and be like, I'm so sorry. You have to pay.
Wow.
That my mindset was like, this is my punishment. I'm going to have to live with this shame. And it was an awful year that followed that. Yeah.
So
sad.
It wasn't just a black cart. It's like Jesus had a suitcase and was walking away from your home.
Yeah. Oh, shivers. That makes me want to, yeah.
So
yeah, it was sad.
So when did you share it and deal with it?
I stuffed it down for a good probably 9 months. And I remember my mum came, it was bad at home because I'd had all of this freedom, and then I came back under my family's, law. And suddenly I wasn't telling mum when I was coming home, and she'd be like, where are you? Rightly so. She's providing for me, and it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not home yet, and I haven't told her where I am. So there was this massive power struggle between, I'm like, I'm an adult. I turned 20, and I was like, I need my freedom, but I'm also just a child. And yeah, there was just all this yuck in my heart, all this shame and guilt, and I was projecting it onto other people as well. And I remember this one night sitting on my bed, and my mum came in my room. I think we'd just had a big fight in the family, which would have been started by me, probably me and Josh. We're the ones that fight all the time. Actually, me, Josh and Kimberly, we all fought. But she came into my room and she sat on my bed and she's like, honey, like you need to just tell me. And I remember just breaking down, and she's like, I already know what it is. Like you don't even have to say. And she just asked me some questions, and I was just sobbing. I couldn't even hold it in anymore. And she said something that night that really stood with me. And when I shared with her what had happened, she said, I'm looking at you now, and I could never love you any less. And she said it like it had helped her see through the eyes of the cross, that he just loves us where we are as children. And that released some stuff in me, and I was kind of able to repent. But I still struggled over the years of, like, if I did something that I thought was bad, being able to pay your way back. Yeah.
Yeah. Do 10 good deeds and we're on good terms now. God.
Or just living under the shame as well, and just, I don't want anyone to see that. That's broken. Like I will project perfection. Like I'm all together. I've dealt with it. It's all good.
It's a tightrope, perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Definitely.
a real high tightrope. Yeah. Wow, that's massive. So what? When did you get off that tightrope?
Wow. Am I off the tightrope?
Tomorrow?
It's so high up here still.
Yeah.
I've just got to walk a little bit further.
It's like you can always see it through. It's like different windows of the same room. Hey, like it can be bad because there's pride, and we aren't perfect. Like we can't achieve perfection. Only Christ is perfect. But I like that I have a high standard for myself, but just there's this battle because I put it on other people as well. I put it on myself. I put it on others. I hold people to this expectation that's not fair a lot of the time. Like I've really wrestled that out for years. It's sad. It's stopped me from a lot of good relationships as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're you signed up for internship.
Yes. Yes.
Best
decision ever.
Lying to be right.
No. It actually is. I got to, and I shared a little bit in my Testify the other week, but I got to a point last year where just like everything in my life, everything that I had controlled to get to a certain point, like on paper, I looked like I was stepping into just everything I ever wanted. But I was so, like there was just so much yuck on the inside, and I felt like I was holding all these ropes together that just were being pulled in different directions, like I couldn't keep it together. And I hadn't given anything to the Lord. Like I hadn't actually said, Lord, is this what you want for me? Like I hadn't yielded anything to him. And I remember someone said to me, they came up to me and they're like, there's a lot of things that you want right now, but you don't feel like you can ask the Lord for them. Like, why don't you ask him? And I remember thinking, because if I ask him, he might take it. And I don't want to give it up, you know? I don't want to give up these parts of my life. But yeah, anyway, what I've learned is that if you can't submit it to the Lord, it's an idol, basically.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's going to go. Like, it has to go. If you want him to be Lord, if you want him to be Lord in your life, like, you have to be willing to give him everything.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like? It looks like everything, not just this thing or this thing. Yeah.
So, internship's not giving up everything for the Lord, or is it for you at this stage?
Internship was more like, okay, Lord, because I felt like I've given him everything. It's all come down. Some stuff's been stripped, some stuff's just gone, some stuff I've had to let go. I was in a place where I was like, okay, what do you actually want me to do now? Because I've spent all my life just taking up things that probably weren't mine to take up. So I was basically at like ground zero. So for me, internship was something I was like, this is a really great way to just say, Lord, here's my life. Awesome. I'll serve you wherever the gaps are. I want you to be Lord of everything. And so that was kind of why I chose to do it. Yeah, and it always felt like a choice as well. It wasn't something that I felt like I was like, do internship.
Yeah.
It felt like when I brought it to him, he was like, well, do you want to do it? If you want to do it. Like, just, I want you to put me first, always. Like, I love you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
It
6
really
months in, 6 months deep.
So good. It's so good. Like, the first 6 months have been so hard, but now it's just like, it's so good. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's amazing. And heaps of people who do internship, and I think it all is basically the same thing, because you can have someone that's super successful and do it. You can have someone that's at rock bottom and do it. And I think at the end of the day, it's just lacking something, which is, I think one of the key things is that the ability to look at anything and just go, it's yours, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yours, God.
Yeah.
And and then because like in that is what I think is one of the most key fundamental things, which is being able to change something about you, being confronted about something and being like, all right, like, and instead of it creating the reaction of, I'm going to think about this and see if I need to do something about this, rather than being like, no, that's wrong, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Goodbye, I'm not listening to you, or I quit,
Oh my gosh,
running away.
that's, so true.
And you start internship and it does something to you if you let it, if you want, but then the momentum after that, if you allow things to happen, you're at the 6 month point, and to hear you say, I love it and it's amazing and God's good. And because you're intelligent and you're awesome and you're committed and you love God, you're the flow-on effect, like you are like a little snowball rolling down the hill. And this is just how I see you. And I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things, but I don't think so. Your momentum is going to be so powerful from this. And that's just amazing. I'm just seeing that, calling that.
Thank you.
So the idea is the snowball gets bigger as it rolls.
Yeah, and just takes out a bunch of people at the bottom. Just
like a whole town.
Destroys heaps of stuff.
Destroys the town.
Yeah, people die.
Destruction.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know.
You roll downhill and crash town.
Can we
explode?
Can we just adjust that analogy and give me something else?
No, that was good though. Right? That's what I sort of.
But the snowball it's not a really positive thing. It gets bigger and it breaks things.
It's uncontrollable.
Yeah,
no,
it's generally out of control.
No, I feel that too. I feel like I had to. Like God really had to strip me down to, like, who is Melissa? Melissa is just this girl that's been created by the Lord, and who my family is. It contributes to the person I am now, my character.
Yep.
But they're not like, they're not that. My identity is not that I'm a Richie. My identity is not that I'm a speech whatever. Like my identity isn't what I have, what I do. This is massive for me because I didn't get that before, because I was always trying to put labels on me. Oh, I'm this, and this. I literally would introduce myself as like, oh, I'm so and so's partner, or I'm this. My granddad's this. Like I would take those titles, and that gave me worth, which is so sad. Because then, who are you when those things are gone? And that's what I had. That's what I learned, and that's when I sat with the Lord, and I guess and learning who He is through the Word, really reveals then who you are with Him at the center. So I feel like I was that little snowflake that's rolled down, and now she knows who she is because she knows God. She knows Christ. Like, yeah.
And you're not in control.
Never.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in control of how I react to things.
Yeah, self-control.
Yeah.
But as far as...
But everything else, no way.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's hard. It's definitely hard. I still struggle.
How can you encourage someone to get to that point?
Oh, it's so hard, hey, because I feel a massive passion for young girls. I see the little ones who are Ignite moving into youth, or the youth ones that are just about to head into their young adult years, and I see them and I just see like, oh, you don't know who you are, and it there's nothing I can do about your life and the choices that you're going to make. I can't control that. I can give you encouragement, but it's going to go like, because that was the same for me. People could tell me, but until I walked it out, there was nothing tangible to attach it to. It's just a lesson. So I'm like, I just feel a massive conviction to call out good things in them, and just to pray for them and speak life over them, and draw near and make a connection where they know that they can come to me and receive love.
Make a friendship.
Yeah, make a friendship, but like a genuine one. Not just because I'm their leader, like because they actually know that I love them. Just young people need to know, they need to know who they are in God, and facilitating that is hard, really hard. But I realize that there's a gap there, and even just recently I felt a huge conviction that I need to know my stuff, because if I don't know my stuff, then how am I going to help when they come with questions? Because they're questions that I have as well. So I need to do my homework. I need to make sure that I'm digging, that I'm prepared, that I can equip, equip myself so that I can help those who are stuck.
At the same time though, one of the best things you can do, because they don't always come with questions, they very rarely do, is be there and be the friend outside, and don't have the answer.
Yeah.
Because then when you go, I don't know, great question. They
makes it more relatable.
Yeah, instead of going, well, in the Bible, there's a scripture, and I can't remember it right now, but we're going to look it up together. We're going to do a Bible study, and I just, flip.
Yeah.
Life. You know what? I don't know, but we're just mates.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you know or whatever, or how amazing the ministry is, Ignite Kids, young adults, that only plays a role this big.
Yeah.
And family plays a much bigger role, and what happens outside plays another bigger role.
Yeah, so true.
That difference can make a massive impact, but I think the most powerful thing is just being what you said. I just want to be your friend. Yeah. Because that'll hold on. Because they read through it. You're just my youth leader.
I know.
You're just
I know.
They see that. So all you can do is just do exactly what you said. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing a little bit more.
No worries.
And, we've heard a little bit. Now we've given people a little bit more of Melissa.
A little chunk.
And it's great. I really appreciate you just sharing, quite a few different aspects. But I'm sure it would encourage other people. So thanks, Melissa.
Oh,
You're amazing.
Guys. Thank you.